All right, guys. So, talking about training. So, you see me, I'm rucking here right now. So I've got 35 pounds in the backpack. And so, one of the big things in your training for any event is I use cross training. So, today is normally an easy run in my training routine. However, it is a light week. So, I even don't want to go for an easy run. I want to give the joints the ability to recover. So instead of an easy run, I chose to ruck. That's 35 pounds. This is not to set records here. It's just to move, have a little bit of a load on the body, and really stimulate the recovery. One of the biggest struggles that I'm facing when I am doing any sort of training really is I like to push it too fast, too hard. Then I would get injured. And once that has happened, I can't push it anymore. So the result of the event then would be pretty crappy. So over the years, I've come more and more to the point where, yeah, gotta keep it easier. Can't just go all out and expect the same results that I had when I was 40, 35, 30. I'm 47 now. Can't believe that. So 47 years old. And so I can definitely tell that my body does not recover quite as fast anymore. It doesn't handle loads quite as well as it used to. And I have a fairly physical job. So I got to make sure that I stay on my feet. I cannot really afford to get injured. So for you guys, when you are out here and doing your thing, it's the same thing. Just make sure that you're really listening to your body. Now, another thing that I want to touch base on is so we've got it pretty hot here. So it's about usually between 90 and 98 degrees right now for most days with a high amount of humidity. So for our friends with Celsius or centigrade, that would be about 30, 32 to 37 degrees Celsius. So it's pretty fucking hot, to be quite honest. And in order to heat acclimate, this is actually a pretty good activity. And because in the end, depending on what your race is and what conditions your race is in, you have to heat acclimate. You cannot train just indoors and expect to perform well in a race that is considerably colder or hotter than you have been doing. So while I am a big proponent of mixed training, like working indoors and outdoors, depending on weather activities, to make sure that you have an optimal conditioning, it doesn't do well if you're just doing everything indoors and then expect to perform really highly outdoors if you are in extremes like this right now or colder. Just remember that like temperatures from the 50s, mid 50s, late 50s up can already affect your running performance negatively. So if you are, like we had this last year where I did the Marine Corps Ultra, and it was just, I think it was like at some point in the 73, 75 degrees. So centigrade, like that would be what, 22 to 24 degrees or something like that. And I can tell you, like we had people dropping like flies in that race. So you just gotta be prepared, and then you have to adapt even on race day. All right, guys. So I'm gonna keep going. You guys have an awesome day. All right, so the thing that I would have set me back the most, or has set me back the most in the past, is my ego. And what makes me really good at some things, that drive to be better, the competitiveness, is also what has led to some pretty rough setbacks. And we're talking about months, in some cases really years, because like 6-7 month setback of like not being able to do something, and then slowly getting back into it. Meanwhile, the person that was consistently being able to do what they needed to do or wanted to do, they have a huge head start. That's hard to catch up at times, especially when you're like, well, like me, you're getting older. Now, I've always performed reasonably well in competitions. So if you look at my running records, you can see my statistics. Feel free to check it out. I've done a lot of crazy shit, from ultra marathons to carrying a friend and client on my back through a Spartan race. So a lot of different things. But anytime I failed, well, that's usually was the time I didn't listen to my body. Where I was like, well, I can push through this. And then when I stopped, I realized, wow, I was more hurt than I thought. I just kept pushing it out of my mind. So that's really why I do what I do. It's like, I know how much it sucks. How much it sucks to be hurt. And I enjoy helping people get out of it. If they can listen. Not everybody is ready, Some people are just not there yet. They still feel like they need to push beyond a certain point, and until they change that tune, not gonna happen. And the hardest thing is to realize, well, I might not get back to where I was. Now, don't get me wrong, I don't get paid for this, right? I don't get paid for racing or lifting weights or whatever it is. So what does it matter? Well, you identify yourself up to a certain degree with what you do. And that's very much the truth for me too. So I'm here, and I got diagnosed with asthma, 2.5 years ago now, I think. It got pretty bad. Like, I had a decent 5K time. It was like 21 minutes or something like that. Like 20 minutes and 36 seconds. And I think that was the best I do. So nowhere close to like top performance. Yeah. But pretty good for an amateur runner that never ran until in the late 20s. So, and then my performance dropped. And then I couldn't run a 5K faster than 40 minutes. And I was like, what the fuck? What happened here? And I was like, okay. So that's when I actually went to the doctor. And a severe case of asthma. And I remember taking the medication for the first time. I got an albuterol spray. And got like steroid inhaler. And singular, this is what I had to take. And once I started taking it, just the albuterol spray, just the first time taking the albuterol spray without having had any of the other medication yet, it was just mind blowing. I was like, oh my God, I'm back, I'm running. So, but running back at the performance that I used to, I definitely don't have the lung capacity anymore that I used to have. So chances are that's not going to happen, or it will be very sluggish to accomplish. And making peace with that is definitely one of the hardest things for me.